I'd like to now move on to Dr. Margôt Kuttschreuter from the University of Twente in the Netherlands, who is going to be looking at results from the FoodRisC project itself. And Dr. Kuttschreuter was really looking at the channels that were being used by different populations in the EU to seek different types of information in relation to food risks and benefits. So Dr. Kuttschreuter, please come to the podium.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm thrilled to be able to do the first presentation on the FoodRisC results of a large-scale survey that we have done in the Netherlands and 8 other European countries, and another study that we have been done on a novel tool. Pat already mentioned that we had a special group who designed a special tool for us, and this group also designed for us a tool to track what people are doing on the website. So that's really browsing behavior. FoodRisC starts with the idea that consumers are active information seekers. That means that the consumers taking the initiative to attend to information, and that for effective communication by agencies to go through, then agencies should provide information that is helpful to the consumers who seek that information. Well, what does that mean? It means a number of things. It means, for instance, that we should address consumer concerns and questions and not start from what we'd like to convey to consumers. That information should be easy to find, that information should be appealing to the target audience by a source they trust, for instance, through preferred channels. Text should be comprehensible and the layout should be attractive. The study I'm talking about is mostly focused on channels. And if you look at the communication scene and the media landscape these days, it's quite different from what it was a couple of years ago. We have the internet with more and more web pages. We have the social media appearing, the Web 2000, which allows almost everyone who's connected to the internet to upload information, to share information, to have a vision on it. And that poses a problem. The problem is, how can we adequately design a strategy based on this viewpoint of information seeking? And what I'd like to do in this brief talk is talk to you about the channels that consumers prefer and will use, what motivates them to seek information, which consumers are likely to seek information, and well, in the second study, we'll go on to the actual behavior. So how do consumers seek information on the internet, and just a little bit on what sources are preferred. As I said, it was a large-scale survey, 2,000 consumers. It was a web-based survey. The countries that were participating in the survey were Belgium, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Latvia, Netherlands, Portugal, Spain, and United Kingdom. That means some from the northwest part of Europe, Latvia from the east part of Europe, Spain, Portugal, and Italy from the southern part of Europe. If you'd want to research what people do and where they are likely to go, you have to give them something beforehand, a description or a text, and we call it a vignette text, a scenario on what they are going to look for. So this text that we gave was that vegetables have risks and benefits. It was loosely based on the EHEC crisis idea. Contaminated vegetables found in supermarkets, being destroyed later, newly imported vegetables tested, and then the opinion of the national food safety authorities that the food is safe to produce. And then we asked people where they would go to look for information. Well, the first question is, of course, are they interested? Do they want to know more about an issue like this? Well, if you look at the mean of the scale, which is 4 right here, you can see that the boxes are to the right. So there are much more people, much more consumers who do want to know more about the the issue, and they mostly want to know about how to minimize the risk, how to cope with them, and still eat them and profit from their natural ingredients. What's the channel they prefer first as a source of information? Very clear answers. Television, still television, television news, and the search engine on the internet. Then on the bottom side we have newspaper, social media, and radio. If you ask them specifically about whether they will be using, how likely they are to go use general information channels, a search engine is top of the list. Then we have television, newspaper, radio, websites, conversations, all about, say, between 4.8 and 5.1, all about the same. And social media on the lowest side, that's the lowest. Social media was a focus point of the study. So we asked more specifically about what kind of social media applications people would go to. Well, news media is not really social media, but it's an online thing. That's quite high. And the other ones are all below 3. That's really very low. So people are not really inclined to use social media tools. Not even microblogs, to our surprise a little bit, because, well, Twitter is a good way to be updated in crisis situation. What can we say about combining channels? Well, what we found is that there are 3 groups of channels. People tend to use mass media, and people who use television will also tend to use radio and newspapers. That's more how people select news. Then we have people who try to use the internet, and they are likely to use online news articles, sites for a search engine, and FoodRisC related websites. And we have the social media. And the social media is more like finding opinions on the issue that somebody else has expressed and has shared on the internet. So it's microblogs, online blogs, networking sites, online videos, etc. George was telling you about differences within countries, between countries. We also find significant differences between a lot of countries. This graph is to show you that from the left, there's the Netherlands, Latvia, and the UK, where people do not indicate that they are likely to go and seek for information, while the other side, Spain and Portugal, people are more likely to look for information. And each country seems to have a special pattern. So if in Germany or in Belgium, the pattern is different from the pattern in Portugal and the pattern in the Netherlands and in the UK. There's a large difference between information seeking, as I said, and the difference in this scale is 1.4, which is quite a large difference. What we defined on who the people are, thank you, that are going to seek for information. Still another general, more or less, perhaps personality characteristics. Some people just do want to know more about everything, about politics, about food issues. They just want to be informed, period. It's also people who are interested in FoodRisC information, people who are inclined to think and rethink and perhaps have questions and go to the internet and to try to find the answer. People to whom food issues are relevant for whatever reason. Also, people who have social networks that expect them to be well informed. So I'm going to seek information because my husband tells me that I'm a mother and I have to take proper care of my kids, so I have to be informed, something in that order. And to a lesser extent, people who are anxious about food. Okay, the second study is a novel tool, a novel study, and it's a study on behavior. And this tool was developed by the FoodRisC consortium, or the company associated with the consortium, and it registered what people actually do on the internet. And we had a study in the Netherlands among, say, 300 mothers. And this study was on organically grown foods for one of the groups and the other one on genetically modified foods. And we asked them to search information, and the queries that they were given were, what benefits of, well, organic or genetically modified foods are being mentioned on the internet? And they were given time to search, and we checked where they went. And the same for the risks. So first of all, what do we see in search terms? Small numbers. 3, 4 search terms is what people use. Well, of course, there are synonyms, like they use organic, ecological, biological. They have food products, eating, consuming, words like that. The search terms have a very similar structure. So it's benefit or risk, plus a word indicating organic GM, plus a word indicating food, consuming, etc., and sometimes another word. And there's not a general order in it. They may appear in one order or the other. The registration, you can see, is very detailed. Even words like the and that and of and capitals, you can see in our Excel sheet appearing on the list for the search terms. Okay, so how many websites did people visit? It's about 700 for organic and also about 700 for modified foods. We asked, well, we could check how long people stayed on these groups of websites. And on average, a search for the benefits and a search for the risk took about, say, 180 seconds, so 3 minutes. And the longest one took about 5 minutes, which is 300 seconds. And that was the duration of the time that people were reading information on genetically modified foods and then in relation to the benefits. Interesting for us is to see what kind of websites do people go. For the organic products, we find that user-generated information is top where people go. And then we find the Dutch Nutrition Center. Well, in the Dutch context, that's not very much of a surprise. It's the Food Communication Center. For GM, differences are much more. There's also the news media sites and the websites on health. If you ask them where they want to have their information from, they say we go to consumer organizations, we go to governmental authorities, and we go to Wikipedia. I'm reading independent here. But if you see where they go, they will not go there, but they will go to the sources that they say that are not among their first preference, like online media and social media. Okay, sum up, conclusions. What does our research suggest if we want to communicate with people, starting from the idea of people who are looking information? Still use television, use internet sources. Social media is still a little bit of a difficult situation. It reaches at the moment on this general issue of look for information, etc. Small audience. At the same time, it's very useful to demonstrate that an organization is present in the media landscape, to build trust in an organization, to reach out to specific target groups, which is much harder to do on other media, and to facilitate communication among consumers. Okay, let me sum up and say, I think the research shows that we should use 3 types of media: mass media channels, online resources, and social media channels, and that they require more and more involvement from people. So mass media channels require just taking notice of information. Information seeking belongs to the online channels, and then we have the social media channels where we have the opinion of others. Well, these are my challenges. Consistency, make sure to turn up in internet searches. You don't have to really have a social media site. You can also try to add social media site to a current website. And again, think about how to adapt the research strategy that you have designed to the particular country that the information is targeted at. Thank you very much.